Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name is Colette and I'm here today to do a reading for all Scorpios out there. I haven't been here for about a week now because I've had a very sick daughter. You might well hear her coughing in the background at some point. But I really need to get this Scorpio reading done because I've done all the rest and kind of need to catch up with myself as well. So I'm not going to do too much introductory talking. I'll probably leave that till the very end, and I'm just going to get straight into your reading, Scorpio, and say that you are starting with the King of Wands today, which doesn't surprise me because the King of Wands represents in many ways the energy of Aries. You've got the ram in the background here, and you've also got these ram heads on his throne that he's sitting on here as well. And you have Mars in Scorpio at the moment. You have Mars in your sign, Scorpio. So you may be also feeling quite restless and quite like you want something new in your life. You want something to change. You want to maybe change your own appearance, but also to kind of push beyond the boundaries. You want to get a new story, is what I'm feeling here. You want a new story. You're fed up with the old. You're feeling as though you've kind of been there, done it. Now you want something else. And the Mars energy, of course, in Scorpio is quite a passionate energy. It's quite a driven energy. It's quite a kind of, can be quite a forceful energy as well, making things happen. And the card that came out over the top with the King of Wands here is the Two of Pentacles. And for me, this is saying that it's like there has been a situation, because this is at the heart of the reading, there's been a situation where you've kind of had to go off on your own path. You've kind of had to take your own journey. And you were, I wouldn't say at a crossroads as such, but you kind of had to diverse away from the path that you thought you were walking on. It was like it suddenly kind of went in two different directions. And interestingly enough, what came out in your head is the Empress. And what came out in your subconscious is the Emperor. So we have the two major arcana, masculine and feminine energies here, which doesn't necessarily mean that it represents a man or a woman. It just means that these are the energies being portrayed is the very masculine, driven, very Mars, Leo type energy. Sun and Mars are both very masculine planets, both very driven planets. And the Empress here is much more the feminine, the Moon and Venus representations. Much more passive, much more receptive. And that doesn't necessarily mean that men can't be that way or that women can't be like this either. I'm not saying that, it is just the energies that are involved here. And because this is in your head and this is in your subconscious, what you're not aware of, not aware of this energy here so much as you are this energy here. But I get the feeling somehow that this is about a couple who have had to kind of take different routes, take different paths for their growth and their learning. There's been a split here. So the card that came out with the Empress as well, the Empress kind of represents all things abundant, all the kind of cycles of life that we have to go through. Like I said, the moon has its own cycles as well. Venus, I mean, all the planets have their own cycles, which is why she wears this necklace around her neck, which kind of represents all the 9 planets. And she's very abundant. She's kind of energy in a woman that if you're looking for a relationship, it's like, you know, these are the qualities that somebody would look at and say, right, you know, I want all of this in a relationship. She kind of has it all. She knows herself really well. She's potentially always pregnant, or pregnant with potential all the time, as in she is always creative. She is the creative source that runs through everything. If you think of the planet Earth, and she kind of represents planet Earth as well, in the respect that, you know, the Earth gives us everything that we need. Everything that we have literally comes from the Earth. It doesn't come from, you know, from the stars or from the planets. We don't kind of have to go off-world to go to the supermarket, and, you know, it's like it's all here. It's all here. And this kind of represents that as well. She can also represent the mother as well, the mother. And he can also represent the father. So that's an interesting scenario here as well. Representation of the mother and the father figure. Which can also represent the Cancerian energy and also the Capricorn energy here as well. These two can be represented, and interestingly enough, at the moment we actually have the south node of the moon and the north node of the moon north node is in the sign of Cancer, and the south node is in the sign of Capricorn. So that's interesting as well. But the card that came out with this Empress is the Tower, and it came out reversed, and it's saying to me today that somebody doesn't want to recognize this because it's reversed. Somebody doesn't want to look at this. Somebody is trying to walk away and just forget it, or think that they can just forget it. That's the plan. That's the plan. Which is also why the King of Wands, I think, is feeling restless and wants something new. But I get the feeling that it needs to be recognised. This needs to be looked at before there can be a major revelation, I suppose. Because when the Tower is up the right way, it's almost like kind of a shock, a kind of seeing things in a different way. It's kind of a breakthrough, a breakdown of things, but also kind of it's a breaking out of restriction and things that have kind of kept us in the place that we've been in. So in many ways it's also saying that this energy is kind of holding us back here, or holding you back, Scorpio, should I say. It's holding you back because you don't want to look at this. So this is also why I feel that this King of Wands is so restless. He wants to just kind of move on from this, but he can't, which is why he's kind of also I just get this feeling at the moment with this card that he feels, or you feel, Scorpio, stuck, and it's like nothing's happening. Like you feel as though nothing's moving forward, nothing's changing. You want something new and you want something different, but nothing is actually coming together. And so this could be to do with somebody's relationship with their parents because of these two cards. So this could be somebody trying to break free from their parents, but feeling as though they're just caught up in the same situation. Maybe somebody's trying to leave home, or maybe somebody's needing to go back home after having left home and is having to come back again and doesn't particularly want to. But I also get the feeling that this could also be to do with like a power couple who are both very powerful in their own rights, in their own energies, but they may not necessarily realise it either. And there may also be conflict between this couple. I definitely feel as though there has been movement away. Somebody's had to walk away, but still not wanting to recognise what it was that made that happen. And that can be either masculine or the feminine energy that I'm talking about here. So we have a whole story that came out with the Emperor, which is in the subconscious. So this energy here is yet to be kind of recognised as well. This energy, because it's in the subconscious, it's working below the awareness of what's going on. And the Emperor card is also about kind of, he holds the world in his hands. So he kind of has the world in his hands in the respect that I get the feeling that if he faces up to this, then he can change things quite dramatically. Because it's very much about bringing things into the concrete. The Emperor is very solid. He's very kind of patriarchal in that respect. He's very structural. He's very, you know, he's somebody who people look up to. He's the Emperor. In this particular deck, it's Zeus. He's the god of all gods. He represents Jupiter. And he kind of is, he's the top dog. But Jupiter, of course, in his, like when he's in his right position, which he is here, he's very generous, he's very optimistic, he's a very jovial type of character. He's balanced, he's fair, because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, which again is another fire energy, so it's also a passionate, driven, but he's driven from the right ideals, shall we say. So this is what's below and what's in the subconscious. And what also is below and in the subconscious, which come out with this Emperor, is this whole backstory with the Nine of Swords, feeling that somebody has been done wrong. Because it's 9, it's kind of nightmare. So somebody really is going through it. Somebody really is putting themselves in a tough time. And I would say doing it to themselves because it's up this way. It's like they won't let it go. They won't. They just keep going over and over the same story time and time again in their heads. And it's just making them feel more and more worse. And I think it's got something to do with this. But it's about kind of... because it's in the subconscious, it's kind of, you're not working through it. It's like sensing something, but not actually being able to put your finger on it and say exactly where it's coming from. And with the Nine of Swords, we have the Five of Wands, which is very much about kind of battling with yourself. In this particular card, there's also a lot of people here as well. So you may feel as though you're not only battling yourself, but you're also having to battle for your rights. Battling with other people's views. But I feel also, because this is in the subconscious, that this is kind of something somebody feels. It's like it's an ongoing story. It's like something they feel that this is just never ending for them. They just keep ending up in this scenario over and over again. And the next card that came out with this is the Queen of Cups, and it's like all they want to do is kind of offer their love. The Queen of Cups is very much about the home, the security, love. She is the kind of Cancerian, Scorpio and Pisces energy. She's the water energy, the emotions, the senses, the feelings, the intuition. As is this card, the King of Cups, which was the card that came out next, straight after the Queen of Cups. And so again, to me, it kind of represents this Emperor. Sorry, I can just put these here. These two represent to me this Emperor and this Queen of Cups here. And that it's almost like they are the perfect match. But at the moment, they're not matching. But in the subconscious, this person's just feeling, Scorpio, or you, Scorpio, are just feeling like you have, like I said, it's kind of like, you know, been there, done that story. Do I have to go back there? And then the Queen of Pentacles came out after the King of Pentacles. And she is reversed. And the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who's very, when she's up the right way, when she's in her upright position, she's somebody who's very very magnanimous, very kind of abundant, and very, she's kind of representation of the Empress as well in many ways. She's kind of the kind of home. She would represent your Taurus, your Capricorns and your Virgo energies of the earth, the physical, you know, the giving, the like feeding you up. She's the kind of queen who would like want to give you good food and make sure you've got everything you need. And you know, when you stay at earth signs house, 9 times out of 10, you know, they will be the best hostesses or hosts that you can have, because they will just like, you know, they'll want to make sure that you're happy and you're comfortable. But when she's upside down, when she's in the reverse, she herself is no longer in her, she's no longer in her power. So she's not coming from a place of her own identity. She's not coming from a place of strength and power. She's coming from a place of weakness. And so she probably isn't even able to look after herself properly, let alone look after anybody else. But that doesn't mean she won't try. But the card that came out after this card, at the very end, we have the Devil, which says to me that deep down there's this constant kind of, you know, going through the wrong relationships here. Just keep repeating the same pattern and ending up in the same place. Time and time again. The Devil represents our fears. It's very much kind of the 9 of Swords here as well, because this is about the mind. This is about the things that kind of cause us to worry, stress, fear what's coming before it's even here, fear the future, fear the present, and just feel that you're in this kind of deep dark hole that you're never going to get out of. And the devil, to me, he's upright as well, so he's kind of saying here that he, if you like, he kind of, you know, because it starts with the emperor and it finishes with the devil. So to me, it's kind of saying that, you know, the backstory of all this is this kind of constant ending up in just bad, toxic, for want of a better word, bad, unhealthy situations that are just keeping you trapped in this fear of and I think it's kind of making you question who you are. Who am I? Who really am I? What am I about? Why do I keep ending up in these relationships? What is it that keeps attracting this to me? Or why am I attracting this energy that just keeps going it just keeps breaking down. But with this particular card here, I get the feeling that this has been an ongoing situation, but I don't get the feeling that this, because this is in the subconscious, I don't get the feeling that this is the same, if you like, the same situation. I feel that this is somebody that, to do with this tower, is more recent, shall we say. This is a more recent event because it's in your conscious awareness. But it's almost like when we kind of start realizing that we are responsible in some ways for our situations, that we kind of attract these situations into our environment and into our lives. But the card that came out, the last card, because I didn't want to leave it on the devil, and the card that I got from this is the Strength card, Scorpio, which is saying to me that you have, through all of this constant, and this has been more than once, this is an ongoing situation that keeps repeating patterns, shall we say, in your life. You are gaining strength. You are beginning to realise your own inner strength, which is really what this is about, and beginning to make you kind of feel that you can stand up for yourself and you can roar when you need to roar. For me, the Strength card is very much about finding your inner. It's the inner strength. It's not so much about the outer strength. It's not so much about the physical strength. This is more about the kind of mental strength, the inner strength, the kind of, you know, I won't let it defeat me. I am going to get past it. It's not going to get me down. And if it does get me down, it's not going to keep me down. I will get back up and I will roar like this lion is doing here. And I get the feeling that that's what's happening here in the subconscious realm. It's learning to find your own inner strength. Which, like I said, doesn't have to be and isn't a physical strength. This is much more about, you know, not being affected by things as easily, so that you don't succumb so easily to the situations that you have in the past, that you can walk away from, say, like, you know, people in need. Because this is also about kind of healing a wound here as well, I feel. Healing your own personal wound. And that is also very much what the King of Cups can be about as well, because the King of Cups is the wounded healer. He's the energy of somebody who's very good at everybody else's problems. He likes to take care of everybody else, but he's not very good at looking after himself. So that can also be what this is all about. And the energy that's moving away is the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles is saying to me that there was a time here of kind of trying to plant your future, because this is what it represents. The Pentacles is all about, if you see these little seedlings here, it's about planting for the future. It's a young energy, it's a new energy in the sense of it's very kind of childlike. It needs to be nurtured. It's an energy that needs to be taken care of and looked after. And it's kind of saying, like, you know, I've got this coin here. What can I do with it to expand it? What can I do to make my future grow? How can I plant these little seedlings which are kind of all potential, again, potential creative ideas which can grow into, you know, ways of taking care of ourselves and being being able to enjoy the future when we get there, when it gets to us. So it is a card of the now, if you like. It's a card of kind of planting your future in the present. And there was a few cards that came out along with the Page of Pentacles. We got, first of all, the Seven of Swords, which says to me that there has been some kind of deception here, or you feel, Scorpio, as though there was some kind of deception. That things didn't turn out the way that you thought they were going to turn out. Again, this is a backstory to what's happening here. And you have the Four of Wands that came out with that as well. And the Four of Wands is about foundation. It's about stability. It's about kind of trying to grow that future again. It's kind of like literally making something stable and making something how can I put it, making something I'm getting the feeling here that there was a situation where somebody thought that this was what they were going to get. Somebody thought they were going to get this wonderful kind of foundation and this wonderful stability. And we also have the Ace of Cups that's come out here as well. So it's definitely, like, you know, a feeling that somebody thought that their cup was going to be filled up. Or somebody is walking away from somebody who has been deceitful and hurtful, and they're going to create something much more stable and much more productive and constructive. And they're out there to find love. They're going to fill it up with love. They're going to fill that cup up with love. Love for themselves as well. And love for what they're going to do. Love for what's coming in, for the future. That's what they're wanting to do. That's their goal and the aim here, if you like. And those kind of cards came out with the, over the top of the Page of Pentacles. But then we also have a card that came out between the Page of Pentacles and the King of Wands. And this card is the Seven of Pentacles. And the Seven of Pentacles is about harvest. It's about reaping the rewards of the work that you've put in here, which is, I think, where you're at in many ways at the moment, bridging this energy here between the King of Wands, the heart of the reading, and what's moving away from the reading now is kind of this, the energy you have been in for a while. But in order to harvest, she has to climb this ladder. She has to put some effort into this. I'm only saying she because that's who it is in the particular card. Her basket is empty, just like this cup here is empty. And each of these pentacles here is a reward for the work that she has put in. But in order to receive them, she also has to now climb this ladder. Which not only does it take effort, but it is also a risk that she's taking there as well. There's a feeling of somebody having to kind of yeah, decide whether or not they want to reap the benefits of that particular situation. Or are they going to kind of walk away? And interestingly enough, what came out after this is the Eight of Pentacles, the Eight of Earth, which is in reverse. So for me, it's kind of saying that this person, this page here, Scorpio, feels as though they haven't reaped the rewards, that they're not able to climb that ladder. Because what I love about this card in particular, it's just such a clever, beautifully done card. And I will put the cards in the description box down below. Is the fact that this could either be something that is being created and turned into a violin, like you can see it as the tree here, and these are all the pentacles here. And the tree is kind of being, the violin is being created out of the tree. And so the tree is kind of transforming into this violin, which is like, you know, this incredible instrument that can bring so much pleasure and joy into people's lives. Or you can turn it round, and it came out this way. And I see this more as the violin kind of turning back into the tree, like decaying. In a way, like as it decays, it loses its, I would say kind of, not just, well, kind of its integrity, really, I suppose. It loses its, its form. It will no longer be a violin. It will return to being just wood. Which is what it was originally made from. And in this cover, when it's up the right way, it is about kind of creating something, putting work into something to make something else, something better from something, from just a piece of wood. But if you see here, it's also got like these kind of branches growing out of it as well. So it's kind of saying, you know, that not only has it been transformed from being a violin into, or from being a piece of wood, sorry, into this beautiful violin, it's also able to kind of like, you know, its life is now the fact that it is this beautiful instrument. It can keep on giving pleasure by being played, and you know, somebody can learn from it. And so it's like it's still got life in it. There's still life from the original tree that it's being made out of. But when it's up this way, I feel as though it's done. It's done. It's kind of decaying. whatever was there is now kind of losing its life force and its energy, and it's kind of turning back into something else. It's very Scorpionic energy, in fact, with Mars in Scorpio for you at the moment, Scorpios. I feel that this is very kind of Scorpionic energy. The rebirth, the death, or the death and the rebirth. So it's kind of saying, like, you know, there's no point in putting any more time and energy and effort into that. It's not going to give you any pleasure if you do, Scorpio. That's what I feel it's saying, is that, you know, the time of pleasure has gone past. It's gone past that point. So what we have moving in, sorry, I'm just trying to tidy my cards up a wee bit. What we have moving in here is the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles literally has in his hand this pentacle here. And so this page has now become a knight. He's taken all his kind of story and he's matured. He literally has become the knight. And the knight is much more independent. He's much more, he's your earth energies, your Taurus, Capricorns and Virgo energy. I don't know why I do it backwards, but I do. Yeah, so he represents all those kind of very solid, stable, earthy, physical, practical energies. And he's very slow and steady at what he does. He likes to do things properly. He likes to, like, if he is making this violin, he will take his time. He will take his time. It won't be something that will be rushed. It will be a work of art. It will be his project. He will put all his energy and his effort into this to make it the best that he possibly can. That's what the Page of Pentacles says to me. It's also very nature orientated as well. So it could also be saying, Scorpio, you know, maybe it's a good time now to kind of get out and ground yourself in the world of nature. Go and like take some walks in the woods and kind of maybe even sit in the woods for a while, because the woods are very good for the kind of greenery, connects with our heart chakra energy. It makes us feel good. It feeds us in a way that other things don't feed us. Like living in cities all the time, you know, it's so grey, it's so dull, it's also very artificial, that we don't get the same kind of feedback that we need from nature, so we can become ill easier. Whereas if we go out into the country, it's like feeding your soul, literally. And I get the feeling there's a sense of this being needed here as well, that this kind of Knight of Pentacles maybe also wants to spend some time on his own as well. I think that that's also what's happening here, that there was a need to spend time on your own, to verge off in a different direction. And then we have another series of cards that have come out along with this card here. We have the Nine of Wands, which is all about struggle. So it's saying to me that he has become dependable and strong through this struggle, through this having to kind of stand up through the hardship, through the kind of knocks and the bangs that he's received, and the kind of constant, well, also because you've got the Nine of Swords here in subconscious as well. These are both kind of almost complete energies though. Both the nine, well, the nines always mean almost completion. You're almost there. So it's kind of saying don't give up as well here. Saying don't give up. You're almost there. And the Ace of Swords is the next card out, which is kind of finding your own inner truth as well with the swords. It's kind of an energy of, it's of the mind, it's of the thinking, the ideas, in the sense of taking control of your mind. Taking control, not allowing your mind to run away with you. And because it's an ace, it's like kind of a new start for you here. It's kind of saying that, you know, this is an energy where you can take control and not allow your mind to overrule everything else. Not allow your mind to keep putting you in this situation here, where you just feel as though you have no control, no say over the matter, that you've had to keep quiet about things. Maybe also with this 7 here, there could be a sense of that as well, that you've had to kind of keep your thoughts and your opinions and your beliefs, even on some level, you know, it's kind of, you've had to kind of keep them to yourself. And in some ways it can make you feel unwanted, unneeded. So there could also be elements of that within this 7 of Swords here as well. And another card that came out along with these is the 6 of Cups, which is saying to me that there is something from the past that needs to be dealt with. It's upside down, so this is something that needs to be dealt with, and I still feel it's got something to do with this Tower here. That this is something that's happened in the past. And until this kind of energy gets dealt with, this situation, whether it's to do with a relationship or a friendship or parents, like I was saying earlier with the Empress and the Emperor, because this can also relate to childhood. This does relate to childhood. The 6 of Cups relates to childhood. So it can also be somebody who you've known from your childhood, who maybe comes back into your life, but it doesn't feel right because it's reversed. But it could also be that you are trying to avoid a situation that has been from your childhood, that you don't want to have to dig into the ashes, into the depths, into the rubble of this tower, this fallen tower. You don't want to go there. You don't want to see what's hidden within the kind of history of that, shall we say. And the card that came out at the end of that is the 4 of Cups, which is saying to me here, because he's fast asleep, he doesn't want to open his eyes, he doesn't want to see that he's being offered. You know, again, it is like this cup here, this Ace of Cups here. And this is what's coming in the future. So Scorpio, you're very much kind of closed off to this energy. You're very closed off to kind of trusting something that has anything to do with making you feel vulnerable, I think. If it makes you feel vulnerable, you're kind of closed off and really kind of reluctant to go there. Again, it could have something to do with the whole Tower scenario and the fact that you don't want to look. But he's being offered, you can see here, he's being offered this cup. His 3 cups are still standing here as well. So things aren't as bleak as he thinks they are. If they were all fallen over, then that would be a different story. But then I pulled 2 more cards. This is the Messenger of Air. And there's something very interesting about this card to me. Not only the fact that she's just beginning to open her eyes here. So she's kind of just beginning, I feel, to look at what's coming in the future. At the potential of what's coming. But also it looks to me as though she's kind of turning, literally. If you see here, she's got these kind of feathery marks on her face as well. And she so much looks like a swan to me. I just get this kind of real swan vibe from her. And swans, of course, are creatures that mate for life as well. So there is this feeling that this power couple are kind of needing to recognise that they are, shall we say, each other's swan. Because that's what's coming in. And I pulled 1 more card. It's interesting because during the setting out of the cards, I was told to go and get this deck, which I have never used in this in my readings on YouTube to date. So they came into my head and I was kind of told go and get those cards and use one of those. So this is the card that came out at the very end, the Seahorse Spirit, and the Seahorse Spirit is saying watch and wait. And I literally feel that this is what she's doing here, or what you, Scorpio, are doing here. You're kind of transforming at the same time as well. There's a transforming happening here. But you are literally watching and waiting. It's like your eyes are just, I don't know if you can see that very well, but they're just beginning to open. It's like you've been in this kind of deep dream here. You know, this 4 of Cups as well. His eyes are fast shut. He's fast asleep. He doesn't want to see this cup that's coming in, or maybe he's dreaming about this cup coming in. But there is this kind of feeling to me that this is exactly what she's doing. She is watching and waiting. So Scorpio, that's what the advice for you at the moment is to watch and wait. I know you're restless and I know you want to kind of make things happen, and I know you want to kind of really start changing your life and journeying off. That's the impression I get, especially with Mars in Scorpio at the moment. It's kind of really like, you know, it's like now, but in fact it's kind of saying just, you know, just hold back, just watch and wait and see what comes, rather than charging in, because the King of Wands is all about charging in. Aries energy, all about charging in. Leo and Sagittarius energy in many ways as well. It's fire. It's kind of like, you know, oh, bugger the consequences. We'll just do it now and see what happens. And then we'll deal with whatever happens. It's that kind of energy. So the advice here, I feel, is don't. Don't do that, Scorpio. Stay calm. Keep just watching and waiting. Just allow your eyes to open a little bit more and a little bit more, and recognise what's coming in for you. Because it is coming in. You don't have to rush off to meet it. That's what I get the impression of, is kind of, if you do that, you're going to miss something. So, that's the end of the reading today, Scorpio. I hope it has been of some help to you. I forgot to say at the very beginning, because I just wanted to get on with the reading, this is a general read. It has been a general read, so that means that it is not going to resonate with all you Scorpios out there, and it's been a read for Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising Scorpio as well. I will be putting a link in the description box down below so that you can check that out and find out where those signs are. If this read doesn't resonate with you, maybe you'd like to go and check out the readings that I've previously done as well. There's a few up there for you now. to go and check out. I also do readings on kind of major astrological kind of events as well, so they're up there as well, so you might want to look at them and see if there's any more information. I also at the same time try to do a collective read to see what's happening on a kind of world scale as well. So if you do like this reading, before I forget, could you please like it up? Could you tap the bell that's down below so that you get future readings as well? And subscribe to my channel would be brilliant. And for anybody who has subscribed, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I will see you back in the future. Happy solstice to everybody today. Many blessings to those of you that celebrate it. And hopefully I will see you again back soon. Take care.